I was 7 years old and I had never been to Nairobi. And going to Nairobi was my dream. I was in a very small village in currently Nyandarua County, somewhere deep, a place called Tigoni. That's where me and my parents used to live. So my mother had these strange stories about Nairobi, and she really knows how to tell a story and make you have some nostalgia about a place you never visited. Talking about the smell of it, yeah. Apparently, she passed next to a biscuit manufacturing company, and the smell of it from the road was just irresistible. She felt like she would want to live inside that biscuit factory. Then there were so many other stories about Nairobi: the buildings, the cars, the food, the people, just everything. So many songs I had heard about Nairobi. Maybe not so many, but quite a few songs about Nairobi. So many fairy tales about Nairobi. As in the village, people are very imaginative. They come up with all sorts of stories. Most of them don't make sense and are not true, but they make you desire things. They exaggerate things to a level. You just listen to stories in the village. You'll be entertained from morning to evening. My father also had stories in Nairobi. So my mom and dad had been to Nairobi both, and they were proud of it. They talked about it so proudly. And when like it was something to look down people upon, like if someone just says like they're like 40 or 50 years old and has never been to Nairobi, that was common. Some people as old as 60 years old and they've never been to Nairobi. So it were looked down upon like people who have not experienced the world. It was a mark that you have gone outside of your home to the greatest city in Kenya. And believably the greatest city in Africa. If you ask most people, even right now, people might say that. So I had this picture of Nairobi, a very glorified picture, and I went, and I will say it didn't disappoint. But going wasn't that easy. It started with first of all my aunt offering to take us there, me and my cousins, to her place. She lived in Nairobi, which I really admired. She had visited. I had seen her once before, as I remember. I was very young when I was seeing her, so I might have seen her a few more times. I don't remember. But she had brought me some queen cakes from Nairobi. It was during my grandfather's burial, and the queen cakes were the sweetest thing I had ever eaten. And in my imagination, I like soda very much, especially Fanta. So my picture of Nairobi was me eating queen cake every day with Fanta and living in a biscuit factory with these great stories of a lot of money, a lot of eh, a lot of famous people, like all the celebrities I knew from the radio, all the radio presenters, all the TVs, everything was in Nairobi. Like the factories and all that. All the greatest people in this world were in Nairobi, the greatest city on earth, as far as I was concerned. So going to Nairobi was my main aim at that point. And I was wondering what will I ever do to be able to get to Nairobi? Because I don't have money. I can't board a car and decide to go to Nairobi by myself. And my parents are not doing well financially. And I felt like they were trying to keep this and trying to make sure they are the only ones who have been to Nairobi. Because they talked about Nairobi with this kind of arrogance, like you've not been there, so yeah, you can't tell us nothing. Yeah, that's how it sounded to me. So when my aunt offered to take us there, and my dad said, "No, you are not going with your cousins. You're going home." We were at my grandmother's place at that time. I was like, "No, what do you mean? I'm going home. Like this is free. You're not going to pay anything. She's catering for all that." I didn't tell him that, but that was what was going on in my mind. The logical thing for me to do at 7 years old was to cry. So I started crying. I'm like, maybe if I cry, he will double. He will be more lenient or more understanding. But no, he wasn't. He's like, no, you're still not going, no matter how hard you cry. So people there, like my aunties, just saw how much I was crying. Like they wanted to calm me down, so they offered me a soda. I like soda very much. So I calmed down for a few minutes, drank the soda, then I started crying again. It's like there's no way I'm not going to Nairobi. I'm not going to be the shame, or like I'm not going to be shamed by my classmates all year long because I haven't gone to Nairobi. Although they haven't gone, but now I'm like them. I would I would like to believe I'm better, right? Or I would like to feel better at least. And then I think that's a normal human selfish want, I would say. I wanted stories to tell them. They had so many stories to tell me. So I wanted a new story. And this would have provided me with a new story to tell everyone that would shock all my classmates. Very few of them had been to Nairobi. Maybe one or two out of the 60 or 70 people in my class. So it was a big deal. It was a big deal. And everyone who said they had been to Nairobi, we looked at them like they had just dropped out of heaven. So I cried again. They gave me another soda. I stopped crying, drank all of it, cried again. My father got really mad at me and just slapped me in front of everyone. Everyone looked at him shocked. He's like, what are you doing to a 7-year-old kid? You slap? That's an adult thing to do. They didn't tell him that, but they gave him those stares. And then they looked away like, that's none of our business. And I had to stop crying because I knew a full beating was coming along. The slap was just the first thing. Those are just the kind of African parents I have. Yeah, you cry, you're beaten for crying. You don't cry, you're beaten for not crying because it's it's re- it's disrespectful not to cry. So I shut up and I bottled all the anger inside. And we went home. I was very angry. I wasn't talking to anyone. I was eating, drinking, and going outside to play. And they didn't care whether I was angry or not. They didn't seem to care. I went home angry for weeks. And then about 8 months later, somehow, my aunt convinced him to bring me to her place in Nairobi. So I was very excited. I don't know what she told him, but somehow she managed to get him to bring me to Nairobi. I was happy. I didn't sleep that night. I was finally going to go to Nairobi. Yeah, it was the greatest day of my life. I tried sleeping, I couldn't. I was looking at like it was dark room, lights were off, my eyes were open the entire night, just waiting for my dad to turn on the lights and tell me it's morning, let's go. And yeah, the morning came. We boarded um we boarded a matatu and yeah, we went to Nairobi. Long journey, longest journey, maybe not the longest, the second longest journey I've ever been to. The longest one was to my grandmother's place, which is some village in Muranga, that place. So this was the second longest journey, but it was long. I get car sick, so this was quite long, and somehow my guts behaved on that day. I didn't throw up or anything like that. So I arrived in Nairobi, and yeah, it didn't disappoint. Nairobi didn't disappoint. I've never seen so many people in one place at the same time. So many people. The streets were crowded, and then there were buildings everywhere. Like back home, buildings were widely spaced. Unless you went to the shopping center, that's why you'd find buildings like stuck together. But usually in the village, buildings are far apart. They are far apart, and there's so much space in between playgrounds and everything. So many people. There's so many buildings, and they were very tall. The tallest buildings I'd ever seen. Like looking up, they looked like could just fall and collapse on us. It didn't seem safe. And I saw something I had never seen before. It was a group of cars, like so many cars on one road that were not moving. So I was wondering, what the hell is going on? Is this a car show or something like that? Are they on display? Is this what people do in Nairobi? Just display cars on the road? But later on, I came to realize it was a traffic jam. The cars were not moving because there was traffic. So I didn't know what traffic was. It didn't make sense to me. There are usually like five cars that pass in our area every day. They are the same cars every day, not so many. No personal cars as much. So I saw so many personal cars. It was a great place. I didn't smell the chocolate, no, not the chocolate, the biscuits or anything. But we went to where my aunt worked. She worked at a hotel just below KICC at that time. So she invited me there. There's the restaurant. In the restaurant, she gave me a soda, and for the first time, like I was hit by the Nairobi heat. I know most people would say, like, if you're from Mombasa or some place like that, or the northeastern side, you might say Nairobi is not hot, it's cold. It was the hottest place I'd ever been to. If you've been to Nyandarua, the Aberdare Ranges, it's one of the coldest places in Kenya. So I was used to the cold. The heat was too much. I was rolling on the floor. And then my aunt just gave me cold soda all the time. I like soda. I drank the first one, then continued rolling on the floor. I drank the second one, continued rolling on the floor, the third one. I drank so much soda. I was so happy. Finally, I had been to Nairobi and it was not disappointing. Then my aunt offered something. She offered to to get us to the top of KICC, like the very top. So this is my first time, and already she's proposing taking me to the top. I didn't know where they were taking me, so they just told me to follow them. Then we get into this small cubicle here. I didn't know what the cubicle was. We get in, we stand, then the door closes. And all of a sudden, I hear movement. It's like we are rising, it's like you're falling. I can't tell. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Is this a game? I thought it was a game. A game where they are trying to make us feel some type of way. So I was moving. It was moving up and down, up and down. According to me, that's how it felt. Like it was moving up and down. Then the door opened. The door opened, and then I looked at the floor, and the floor was different. I'm like, where are we now? I didn't realize that was an elevator at that time. We had just been transported from the ground floor to the 29th floor, and the 29th floor was red. So I realized because the ground floor was concrete, I realized that the color of the floor has changed. So we got out, and we started walking to the roof now. The elevator didn't take you completely to the roof. Then, just as we were getting to the roof, I looked outside one of the glass panes and I realized buildings were now down. The roads were down, the buildings were down, and everything was below us. I'm like, where are we? Are we up? What happened? What did that magical cubicle do to us? So we go to the top. We go to the very top. And that's when I saw the whole of Nairobi from the top, very top of the building. So yeah, when I realized it was an elevator, I got scared because I'd heard stories about elevators from my mom that sometimes they fail. The electricity goes away, they fail, and you are locked there until God knows when. So I was afraid. She was telling me of stories people who didn't use elevators, they would use stairs. And I said, when we are going down, I'm not climbing that elevator. We are using stairs to the ground floor. So I was up there and was very scared. Apparently, the fear of heights is natural to us because there is a metal railing at the very edge. So my aunt was pulling me towards the edge of the wooden framing so that I could see where our first president Kenyatta is buried and so many other historical artifacts and just the general view. Raoul's, no, 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 I'm not going there. You're too close to the edge. We are going to fall and we are definitely going to die. I could see death coming. I refused to go that far. My dad was acting a bit confident, but he was walking very carefully. My aunt is the only one who managed to go to the very end. My dad stood somewhere in between and I was at the door. The opening to the top floor, waiting to go down. So I tried to look. I could obviously see some parts, but I wasn't able to see exactly what they were trying to show me. But I was scared. Then it came to coming down to the elevator, and yeah, they forced me in. I was like, oh no, this is the day I die. It started moving. Now I know what's happening. I'm scared. It's going down. It's going to fail, but it didn't fail. It didn't fail. We were safe. We got out. We later went to her place. Um, Never seen such great roads, never seen such magnificent structures, so many people. We went to her house, she had a very nice house, a very nice couches. I've never seen such nice couches, a big color TV. I'd never seen such a big color TV before, and just so many artifacts and everything. I missed out on. I didn't get the feeling I was being told I would get, or at least whatever I had in my mind. I had imagined so many things. But it was a great experience. And I was not going to make it light for the people I was going to tell the story to back home. Just like they know how to magnify small things to become mountains and magnify small achievements to seem like they went to Mars. And I was gonna make it look like I went to Jupiter. And I did. I did. I was the talk of the class at least for a few months. And finally I'm one of those kids who went to Nairobi. Greatest story ever. I had some status now. I had some privileges that I didn't have before. You can't imagine just how great the privileges were. I felt on top of this world. I had been to Nairobi. You can't tell me nothing. Even my parents can't tell me nothing from now before. Because they used to talk very condescending to me, like looking down on me while they're talking about Nairobi. And I felt that. I felt that. And I was resentful towards it. But finally I had made it to Nairobi. No one could tell me anything. That's my story of Nairobi.